can you talk about the roles some of the guys that we don't hear about so often in the booking committee took? I'm going to name Jimmy Hart, Scott D'Amore, and of course, the person I really want to hear a good story about, Glenn Gilbertti, a.k.a. Disco Inferno.
Jimmy wasn't really on creative. He just threw some ideas and he would leave. I don't blame him. But he wasn't that involved with it. Scott D'Amore was, but he was learning, and I'm sure he knows a lot more now than he did then. But Gilbertti, I'll say one thing about him. He wasn't boring. He came in one day and we were frustrated. I was pissed off because the creative team, it was like, why would we do this? And well, I don't goddamn know why we would do it. I guess because we're in a business called professional wrestling, I guess. I don't know. And then Gilbert come in one day and somebody told him, well, we're thinking about this. He said, and Dutch wants to do this. And all of a sudden he said, well, that's stupid. Oh my God, he caught me wrong. I wanted to snatch him up, and I like Glenn, but he has such a delivery. You want to kill him. So I said, why don't you go and sit your ass back in there and you come up with something, blah, blah, blah. And I kind of cussed him out. And he said, well, I didn't mean to piss you off. I said, and then I walked out. I mean, Glenn was, he was too much, but he did, a lot of people said he wasn't over in WCW. No, he wasn't over to draw money, but he was entertaining. So when you put him out there, you don't know what he's going to do. And I kind of enjoyed his matches. I enjoyed being around him, and I still talk to him every now and then. As for matches with anything that he did outside that, I would go down there to work. So most of my time was spent with creative guys. As far as going to the bars at night and messing around, I didn't do that because I didn't drink. So, you go to the bars, those guys, you might not get into 3 o'clock in the morning. You got to get up at 8 and go back to being creative again. Hard to go from being drunk to being creative. That's a big adjustment. But I'll say one thing about Glenn, he wasn't boring, and I liked him. And he was funny.
Speaking of Glenn not being boring with his creative, you may know where I'm going with this straight away. Disco's pretty famous for coming out with some of the most outlandish creative ideas ever heard in a booking meeting, like building the evil architects, Mike Tenay becoming an alien. It's just like all aliens and stuff. Did he ever pitch, even as a joke, did he even just pitch some complete nonsense just to amuse people?
Well, I'm sure it was complete nonsense because, see, Glenn's another one along the lines of Luger and Sting. They didn't really understand the basic concept of wrestling. See, how would an alien get heat? And people, you kind of got to put some kind of belief in something. But the best explanation I ever had about wrestling was and I may have said this before too, and I'll say it again, biblical. It's good versus evil. That's what it is. And the fans that sit out there, they want to see the good guy win. And that's what I did in Puerto Rico. I keep going back there, but I would put my good guys over about 90% of the time. So I would give the people who actually bought tickets, I would give them a payoff for buying a ticket because then they would leave happy. But in my main events, I would always have something else happen to that baby face before he got out of that building. So the people were happy at one point that he won, but then mad because he got the crap beat out of him. And that would give them something to come back and see. So I did it for 3 years, and they have yet to pop to the routine. So I guess it was still working when I left.